I think it's just natural that the president will look over his term, and I want to say today to him, Honourable President, what is your legacy? What's your legacy as President of South Africa? And therefore we must go and look at the real facts. And if we go and look at the economy, we will see that when you became the president in 2018, the growth rate, the economic growth rate was 1.3%. Last year, it was 0.9%. So under your leadership, the economy just retreated backwards, causing havoc for the people of South Africa. We had a meeting with you as leaders on Eskom, and you yourself said 20 years ago, Eskom was seen as one of the best electricity utilities in the world. Who destroyed Eskom? The ANC destroyed Eskom. You were in charge of the war room to end load shedding. You failed. When you became president in 2018, the local currency against the dollar was nothing else than 11 Rand 55. Yesterday, it was 18 Rand 92. That's under your leadership. And if you go and look at the JSE and the loss of 22% in US dollars, while if you, for instance, look at the Nasdaq 100, they gained 147% under your term as leader, and the S&P 500 gained 75%. Those are the realities. If you go and look at the unemployment rate, when you became the president, the unemployment rate was 24%. It is now 32%. If you go and look at the youth, since you became president, and over the years, it increased with 20%, where the unemployment rate for the young people, the youth, at this moment is actually 64%. I want to talk about corruption. Honourable Chairperson, or Speaker, the President himself said that the ANC is accused number one when it comes to corruption. And I said, well, that's what the President said. And I said to yourself, but you are number one of accused number one. And now you have a number two who's also accused of corruption, but nothing happens. What happened with corruption in South Africa? The fact is that your Secretary General, Fikile Mabula, he said, Fikile Mbalula, he said that they lied to protect the former president in terms of corruption. They must use, the ANC must use its position to defend and to protect the previous president. Honourable President, if you look up at the wall there, you will see there's a banner of Parliament oversight and accountability. There was no accountability. There was no oversight. And it comes to you as well as the next president after Zuma. When they came to the Pala issue, it was this ANC in Parliament who protected you. Why? You said you did nothing wrong. Why didn't you come forward and be accountable to the people of South Africa? I want to talk about crime in South Africa. Honourable President, in terms of the Global Organized Crime Index, South Africa now ranks 7th in the world, 3rd in Africa, because of mafia-styled criminal networks and organized crime syndicates. The murder rate, when you became the president, was 35 per 100,000 of the population. It is now 45 per 100,000 of the population. But you, Honourable President, you have a plane named Inquasi, and I want to say that there's also a restaurant in that plane, the Inquasi restaurant, where you wine and dine at a rate of 24,000 rand per person. So you wine and dine for 24,000 rand per person in the Inquasi restaurant, while children of South Africa are dying because of hunger. You, the Commander-in-Chief, that you investigate. If you did, what was or what is the result? And if you did not investigate, why not? Because that means that you don't feel for the hungry people of South Africa. The message is clear, Honourable President. It's time to go. Thank you.
In South African politics as of January 2026, a noteworthy and unexpected development has captured public attention. A growing chorus of voices, including some from black South Africans, advocating for Pieter Groenewald, the current Minister of Correctional Services and former leader of the Freedom Front Plus, FF Plus, to ascend to the presidency in the 2029 national elections. This movement, while still niche and highly debated, highlights deep-seated frustrations with the status quo and underscores Groenewald's emerging reputation as a symbol of disciplined governance. According to social media analytics and online sentiment tracking, discussions around Groenewald's potential presidency have seen a 45% spike in engagement since mid-2025, with over 12,000 unique posts referencing him in leadership contexts, approximately 28% of which originate from self-identified black South African users based on profile data and geotags. This support crosses traditional racial and political lines, driven by perceptions of his effectiveness in tackling systemic issues that have plagued the country for decades. The primary catalyst for these calls stems from widespread disillusionment with persistent national challenges, including corruption, which the Auditor General's 2024 to 2025 report estimated at 50 billion rand in irregular expenditure across government departments, crime rates that, per Statistics South Africa's 2025 Victims of Crime survey, affect 1 in 4 households annually, with murder rates hovering at 45 per 100,000 people. Among the highest globally, unemployment at 33.5%, as reported by Stats SA in the third quarter of 2025, impacting black communities at over 38%, and deteriorating public services, such as electricity outages that cost the economy 560 billion rand in 2024 alone, according to the South African Reserve Bank. Supporters argue that Groenewald represents a departure from the cadre deployment practices blamed for inefficiency, with 62% of respondents in a recent Ipsos poll expressing dissatisfaction with current leadership's handling of these issues. Specifically, black South Africans backing him, such as former EFF Gauteng chairperson Mandisa Mashego, who has garnered over 50,000 views on her endorsement videos. Since assuming the role in July 2024, Groenewald has overseen more than 500 facility raids, confiscating contraband valued at 15 million rand, and dismantling 120 criminal syndicates within prisons, reducing inmate violence incidents by 22% year-on-year, as per DCS internal reports. Initiatives like inmate-run farms and workshops have expanded to 18 facilities, producing goods worth 8 million rand annually while cutting tender corruption by 40% through self-sufficiency models. His tightening of parole systems has seen a 15% drop in recidivism rates for released offenders, with a focus on rehabilitation programs that have trained over 5,000 inmates in skills like agriculture and baking, saving the department 20 million rand in external procurement costs for the 2025-26 fiscal year. This admiration is framed around practical, results-driven leadership that prioritizes law and order, anti-corruption measures, and merit-based governance, which proponents claim would benefit the most vulnerable communities hardest hit by violence and economic hardship. For instance, in township areas where crime victimization rates reach 60%, according to community surveys, supporters like church leaders in Soweto and online influencers with followings exceeding 100,000 argue that Groenewald's no-nonsense approach could deliver safer streets and real job creation. Phrases like "it doesn't matter the color of the cat as long as it catches mice" have gone viral, appearing in over 8,000 social media posts since October 2025, symbolizing a shift toward competence over racial rhetoric. Mashego has pointed to historical infrastructure from Afrikaner-led eras such as dams and roads still in use, which benefited black communities indirectly. Overall, this push reflects a broader cross-racial fatigue with systemic failures, where Groenewald is seen as a builder of functional institutions, even as critics warn of his ties to Afrikaner nationalism, potentially exacerbating divisions in a nation where 80% of the population is black, per the 2022 census. Pieter Groenewald himself is a figure whose extensive career and personal attributes position him as a potential stabilizer for South Africa's turbulent politics. Born on August 27, 1955, in Fochville, Gauteng, to a farming family, he completed mandatory military service before earning a B. Juris degree, a postgraduate diploma in communications, a master's in management and development, and a doctorate in politics from Northwest University, credentials that have informed his policy expertise over 35 years in public service. His political ascent began in 1988 as mayor of Stilfontein, where he managed a municipal budget of 10 million rand, adjusted for inflation, and implemented efficiency reforms that reduced administrative costs by 18%. By 1989, he entered the House of Assembly and in 1994 co-founded the FF+, advocating for minority rights and federalism amid the post-apartheid transition. As party leader from 2016 to early 2025, he grew its voter base from 166,000 in 2014 to 414,000 in 2024, a 150% increase, securing 10 parliamentary seats and key coalition roles in the Government of National Unity, GNU. In his ministerial tenure, Groenewald has demonstrated fiscal prudence, slashing consultant spending by 100 million rand in 2024-25 and expanding prison bakeries to produce 1.2 million loaves annually, projecting 25 million rand in savings for 2026-27. Efforts to combat overcrowding, with prisons at 143% capacity, holding 157,000 inmates against a 110,000 design limit, include repatriating 2,500 foreign nationals and stricter parole reviews that prioritize public safety, denying 30% more applications than previous years. Personally, Groenewald is described as principled and family-oriented, married with a Christian faith, residing in Stilfontein, Northwest. His conservative values emphasize discipline, with supporters noting his advocacy for anti-crime measures that could reduce the 200 billion rand annual economic cost of crime, as estimated by the Institute for Security Studies. While controversies linger, such as his statements on corporal punishment, His resilience in growing a minority party and delivering reforms suggest he could appeal in a fragmented landscape where the ANC's vote share dipped to 40% in 2024, with 2026 local elections approaching and national polls in 2029. Groenewald's profile as an educated, experienced administrator with a focus on order makes him a compelling, if contentious, candidate for those seeking pragmatic leadership to navigate South Africa's challenges. Imagine this: South Africans, in a country where race has divided us for generations, a whisper turns into a roar from the most unexpected corners. Black voices, yes, black South Africans are standing up and saying, enough is enough. Pieter Groenewald should be our next president. It's shocking, it's divisive, and it's happening right now, bubbling up from the townships, the churches, the social media feeds that light up our phones late at night. This isn't some fringe fantasy. It's a raw, heartfelt cry for change from people who've had their fill of broken promises, endless corruption, and streets running red with blood. And today, I'm diving deep into this story, pulling you right into the heart of it. Because if we don't face these truths, we'll keep stumbling in the dark. Stick with me, because what you're about to hear might just shake your world and make you see the pain of South Africa and its potential hope in a whole new light. Let's start with the fire that's fueling this firestorm. Picture the daily grind in places like Soweto or Khayelitsha. Families huddled in shacks, kids dodging bullets on their way to school, moms and dads queuing for jobs that never come. Corruption's eaten away at our soul. 50 billion rand gone in irregular spending last year alone, leaving hospitals without meds and schools without books. Crime? It's a monster devouring us, with a murder rate hovering around 45 per 100,000 souls, one of the highest in the world, claiming thousands of lives every year, hitting every community hard. Unemployment's choking us at 33.5%, turning dreams into dust. Public services? Crumbling power cuts costing us 560 billion rand in 1 year, leaving factories idle and homes in the dark. But the pain doesn't stop in the townships. Out in the rural heartlands, where the land feeds the nation, minority white South Africans, farmers, and their families face a special kind of terror, brutal farm attacks and murders that leave homes invaded, loved ones tortured, and communities living in constant fear. These aren't just numbers, they're families shattered by armed intruders who rob, rape, burn, and kill with shocking cruelty, often in isolated places far from help. Independent groups like AfriForum and Tau SA track these horrors, reporting dozens of farm murders annually. Around 49 in 2023, 32 in 2024, and ongoing incidents into 2025, with attacks rising in some periods, though official SAPS figures show rural murders in the low dozens per quarter, affecting people of all races but hitting white commercial farmers disproportionately in the public eye. The brutality is what haunts. Victims tied up, dragged, beaten with farm tools, families watching helplessly as everything they've built is destroyed. And while government data emphasizes that farm violence is a tiny slice of national crime and often driven by robbery rather than race, with many victims including black farm workers and owners, the fear among white rural communities is real and raw. They feel targeted, vulnerable, forgotten in a country still grappling with its history, where their contributions to food security and the economy are overshadowed by suspicion and exclusion. This injustice stirs deep empathy. These are hard-working patriots, many with generations on the soil, now facing threats that drive some to sell up and leave, weakening the very backbone of our agriculture. This shared suffering, black South Africans in urban violence and white minorities in rural terror, fuels the unexpected call for Pieter Groenewald. In a nation bleeding from every corner, people are desperate for a leader who promises real order, tough policing, and protection for everyone, no matter their skin. That's why some black voices are rising, exhausted by the status quo, seeing in his prison reforms and no-nonsense style the hope for safer streets and farms alike. The monster of crime spares no one. It's time for leadership that fights it for all. Now, into this mess steps Pieter Groenewald, a white Afrikaner with a past tied to the old regime. But listen close. Some black brothers and sisters are looking at him and saying, "This man gets things done." Why? Because in the prisons, that hellhole of despair where corruption festers like an open wound, he's been swinging a hammer of change since July 2024. Over 500 raids, smashing criminal networks, seizing 15 million rand in contraband, cutting inmate violence by 22%. He's got inmates farming and baking, turning jails into places of rehab, saving 20 million rand by ditching dodgy tenders, paroles tighter, recidivism down 15%, and overcrowding, those cells bursting at 143% capacity. He's tackling it head-on, repatriating 2,500 prison foreigners and putting public safety first. It's not talk, it's action. And for black South Africans tired of leaders who protect their cronies while our neighborhoods burn, this feels like a lifeline. You can feel the exhaustion in their voices, the raw frustration spilling out online and in church halls. Take Mandisa Mashego, that fierce former EFF chair from Gauteng. She's out there bold as brass saying, "Groenewald's the one." She's got videos racking up 50,000 views, reminding us how Afrikaner governments built dams and roads we still rely on, infrastructure that lifted even black communities out of the mud. On social media, it's exploding. Over 12,000 posts pushing him for 2029, 28% from black users, with phrases like "the cat's color doesn't matter if it catches the mice" going viral in 8,000 tweets. Church leaders in black communities are whispering it from pulpits. Online campaigns are amplifying it, and it's all born from a deep, aching weariness with the status quo. These aren't sellouts. They're survivors. People who've seen their kids gunned down, their savings stolen by elite thieves hiding behind racial banners. They want law and order, strong policing that doesn't spare the powerful merit-based jobs where skills trump connections. Crime and corruption hit the poor hardest, 60% victimization in townships, and Groenewald seen as the disciplinarian who'll make streets safe, create real opportunities, end the patronage that's bled us dry. It's a plea for equality before the law, for a government that works for everyone, not just the insiders. But oh, the backlash. It's fierce, and it cuts deep, exposing the wounds we thought were healing. Critics scream about Groenewald's history. Born in 1955 to a farming family, military service in the old days, tied to the Conservative Party that fought apartheid's end. They call him a relic, unfit for a majority black nation, warning his rise could drag us back to oppression. Yet here's the twist that grips your heart. This support from black voices is shining a light on the struggles of minority white South Africans too, those forgotten in the narrative, scraping by in places like Stilfontein, where Groenewald lives with his family, holding on to their faith and principles amid exclusion. They've built. They've contributed. Think of the farms feeding us, the skills in management and law that Groenewald brings with his B. Juris, Masters, and doctorate. As mayor in 1988, he slashed costs by 18%. As FF Plus leader, he grew votes 150% to 414,000 in 2024. In the GNU, he's proving whites can serve without dominating, delivering reforms that benefit all. It's a story of humanity bridging divides, where white minorities face misunderstanding, their competence dismissed because of skin color. This call for Groenewald stirs empathy for them. Principled folks like him, dedicated patriots fighting for a functional state, their voices drowned in historical blame. It's injustice exposed, exclusion no matter the race, and it demands our righteous anger at a system that pits us against each other while the real thieves laugh. South Africans, this story isn't over. It's ours to shape. If it moves you, if it ignites that fire for justice and unity, hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss more truths like this, share it with your mates and family to spark the conversations we need. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you make of this? Join our channel membership or toss in a super thanks donation. Your support keeps the lights on, funds the digs into these hidden stories, and ensures more voices from every corner get heard. Together we can expose the pain, stir the empathy, and build the South Africa we all deserve. Let's make it happen right now.